This is the BNCF BPad 13, and it is as large as its name. It's the largest tablet I've ever owned, dwarfing my Daylight tablet and my R10 Pro. But even though I have these other tablets, I keep this one around because it does one thing really well. Let's cover key features here. Then we'll talk about hardware, software, performance, and all that good stuff. The screen here is a 13.4-inch screen, as large as my MacBook Pro, and it's full HD. It's running on a Unisoc T615 with only 6 gig of RAM, but 14 gig of virtual RAM. It's running on Android 13 with an enormous 10,000 milliamp battery. Comes with 256 gig of storage with an optional micro SD card slot that can handle up to a terabyte of space, and it comes with its own case. Now, the case here is incredibly nice because there's not a lot of cases out there for 13.5-inch tablets. So being able to stand it up vertically or have it in different positions, almost all the way flat, is a really nice addition that comes right in the package. For right now, let's take the case off as we talk about hardware around the device. Now, I want to start with the screen because I've found when looking at tablets that cheaper tablets typically have a hazy or fuzzy screen. So with this being such a large screen, I had low expectations, but it's really sharp and crisp. Now, in the top center of the screen here, you have your webcam, which shows that this is really designed to be used horizontally like a computer. I actually kind of like it when video chatting, being able to have it right there up top. On top here, we have 2 volume buttons as well as the microphone. To the side, we've got our USB-C port, as well as the micro SD card slot and a headphone jack. Now, as a musician, I love headphone jacks and the power button. On the bottom, you've got, again, those 2 speakers and nothing on the right side. Now, on the back here, it's pretty clean. There's no giant logo in the middle. They've just got it in the top left there. And you get the lovely world of 2 cameras, back and front. So back camera here is powered by AI. It's 16 megapixels, while the front camera is 8 megapixels. Now, real quick, I want to look at navigating, because if I have an app open and scroll up from the bottom, it takes us home. That's standard. But if I scroll up from this little white bar right here, I get taken to this toolbar that I can load up with whatever apps I'd like. Now, with such a big screen, one of the coolest features here is being able to use the split screen so well. So you can have, an internet browser on one side while taking notes on the other, or you can be watching a movie while answering emails. And when you're talking about 13.5 inches, this is essentially like having 2 iPad minis side by side. In a previous video where I talked about the lap dock, I mentioned it was so crazy to have something that can run apps with a touch screen like that. And now we have kind of the same thing at almost the same size, but without having a phone connected. So you can do something like LumaFusion here, where we've got the option to edit videos with just touching around, and being able to color and impact and move videos with our hands is incredible, and it's able to do it and play it back pretty smooth. The other thing that I like doing with it as a musician, again, is opening up Fender Studio and having this massive guitar studio effects chain thing that I can tap around and impact however I want, and then plug in a guitar with USB-C and be playing right into the tablet. Now, keep in mind that you can use split screen with just about everything, which means I can have Fender Studio on one side and LumaFusion on the other and start doing some good video editing while recording guitar. Because we all need to do that, right? Now, not only can this create really well, but it can create all day. Again, it's got a 10,000 milliamp hour battery, and that's good because the screen is so large it needs it. But I've found that the battery percentage goes down so slowly. Right now it's at 31%, and I'd really comfortably take it tomorrow for another day of work without charging it up. 31% at this point in the video. I've been recording for 11 minutes and 40 seconds. So let's see at the end where it's at and what the time code is. We'll also post a time lapse here of it being used from 100 to 0 and just see how long it lasts. But the battery is going to drop a lot slower than a smartphone, even under heavy use. It's just going to go all day, and depending on how you use it, maybe multiple days. Now, a tough point with every tablet in the world is the camera. So let's take a quick look at the photo and video, both out of the back and front cameras. And for my examples, I'm going to use this lovely candle. Okay, let's start with the back camera here. I'm going to capture an image first. Beautiful. And then we'll also take a look at a video. I'll even move around with it a little bit. Oh yeah. Then we can flip it around, and I'll take a photo of myself with the front camera and a video. Now, right now, we're looking at the video quality from the tablet, and this is exactly what something like Zoom or Google Meet would look like. Now, is it the best camera in the entire world? No. Sony and Canon don't need to worry, but for a tablet front camera, it looks great and will totally get you through any video meeting you've got to do. Now, there are also camera features like night mode and time lapses, so if you don't have a device that can do that and you're wanting to take creative shots, this is definitely an entry-level way to start taking some maybe cool time lapses. Like the title of this video suggests, this tablet does one thing incredibly that we haven't mentioned yet. But first, when you buy a tablet for $200, there are going to be downsides. So let's quickly cover 3 of those because they are present and we want to be honest about those. The first one here is that despite there being stereo speakers, they are just a little bit quiet. I find that when I'm playing songs for students in a music lesson, my phone will actually get louder than the tablet. And to be clear, that doesn't mean that the audio quality is bad, just that the volume is a little bit low. But it does have that headphone jack, so if you're just using it on your own, that might be the best way to go to hear the audio anyways. The second problem here is that it's just a little bit slow or sluggish to move back and forth between apps. You can tell the screen here is just kind of slow. It's not the animation. If you're interested in watching something, that's not a big issue because you're opening an app and you're sticking in that app. But if you're doing a lot of back and forth jumping between things or a lot of typing, it can just feel a tad behind you. Now, the third issue has to do with gaming, where if you're a big gamer looking for a device with a big screen, games are going to run at medium quality at max with just a little bit of stuttering. Your best bet might be to go to low settings for smooth gameplay, but this is also a really good transition into what this tablet's absolutely best at, and it will solve the gaming issue. This tablet, for the size and the price, is phenomenal at being an Android-enabled monitor. Now, what I mean by that is it's huge, and I can use it as a camera monitor with my Sony cameras because I've got the Sony Creators app. Or a drone monitor with any drone app that comes with your drone. You could use it as a Steam Link or NVIDIA Cloud monitor for games, and that immediately gives you games on a big screen that aren't reliant on the processor here. Again, that Unisoc T615, it's not the fastest ever. So having some kind of cloud gaming service makes this just a cool big monitor. You could even mount it to a tripod and use it as a portable TV or a family video chat device as well. So when it comes to viewing things on this screen, the size and the clarity just make it an awesome monitor. And you might be wondering, well, why not just buy a monitor then? And that's because this does still have Android on it. It does everything pretty well. And so if you need a tablet and you want a monitor, this is the best of every single world you could possibly have. How I use it personally is I take it to work and just use it as a notepad for students to write out chords or see sheet music. And then I use it if I'm doing dishes and I want to watch a movie while I'm doing them, because again, it's the best out-of-the-box media player you could possibly get. Now, by the way, we're recording now for over 25 minutes and my battery's at 29%, which means it's dropped by 2 points in, what, 14 minutes? And that's screen constantly on and brightness nearly all the way up. So if you're sitting there and thinking, is that for me? The answer, like most things in life, is really, it depends. If you're more interested in just power and you don't need the size, well, something like an all-do cube might actually serve you better with more physical RAM around the same price. But if you want something to watch movies or again use as a monitor or streaming, you're not switching between apps very often, really hard to beat the size of this for the price of this. Now, the link for this is down in the description and the top pinned comment, but I like it. I use it. I keep it around. Well done to them.